Welcome back to Dark Nexus. Tonight, it's Act 3, Chapter 93. We are picking up as we drop anchor for the night on the 14th of Neth. It's day 4, mile 34. Still quite chilly, but the unnaturally thick fog is definitely retreating. And the smells of the natural world are slowly returning. All the fishy smells, the vegetative smells, occasionally some earthy smells drifting in from the shore. And you can hear at this moment the distant calls of what sounds like a wolf pack on the hunt in the hills of the Forest of Vales off to the east. Avalon Bay is getting broader and broader the further south you sail. In fact, only this afternoon, not long after you left Ilmarsh behind, you passed one of its 3 main tributaries, the treacherous Destach River, which has its headwaters way to the north in Lantern Lake, not far from Rosenport. Now, Johnny mentioned last time an interest in perhaps discussing laying an ambush for those who pursue you. You've actually got a few things pursuing you, and it's not clear which, if any, are connected. There is this ship emerging from and disappearing into the fog. There's Daggerbotha, apparently. Maybe on that ship, maybe not. Who knows? And then there's this giant flea marked with the sign of Jamandor. I will turn it over to y'all to talk, but first let's real quick just account for the rest of the afternoon's activities. We know that Grip worked his afternoon shift, and he's been taking to the sailor's life with surprising aplomb. We know Dora got block 4 of 5 done this morning on learning how to enact the Dreamlands excursion ritual, but then she was interrupted in the afternoon. Katie, since you did attempt that concentration check to see if Dora could successfully sink herself back into the research, even though she failed, I think that's kind of how she spent the rest of the day, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
She's thrilled about it, too.
Even though there was no mechanical benefit. And Johnny, we know that Vic spent the morning making ammo today, but was there an afternoon activity that we can quickly tick off for you?
Yes, researching a new first-level formula.
Ooh, how exciting. And how long is that going to take you? Like a bunch of days, right?
Oh, yeah, it's
like
going to take
so?
like a week.
Okay, great. All right, so Vic is beginning some spell research and calculation. And finally, we know that Dabs worked their morning shift, and then we're going to pick up after spell prep, so go ahead and refresh your spells there, Polly.
Okay.
And why don't you roll Lesser Restoration for Dora if you had one prepared for today, which I believe you did, right?
Yes, I did.
Great.
So that would be 2.
Dora is down to 2 sanity damage remaining.
Yay.
So this is really interesting. She's the only one with sanity damage left, right?
Yep.
So now that it's inching closer to 0,
Yes.
and based on the events of the afternoon,
Yes.
I think she's beginning to sort of be able to see how she has been behaving around this and her lack of enthusiasm for therapy in lieu of research. So as it's creeping down to 0, I think she's starting to question why she got so mad about not being able to get back into, I think she's beginning to see how she's been behaving. Whether that will result in a behavioral change remains to be seen. But I think she can sort of see it now.
Give me a perception check there, Katie.
32. That's a natural 19.
So, before she went upstairs to quickly destroy Evunith, she noted that she had written some shit in the margins of her work that she hadn't even known she had written. At the end of this shift, as she's kind of like shaking off this madness-induced haze that has separated her a little bit from reality, on the page where she had written all the way down the right-hand margin, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?" You see an entire monologue written on the left margin that you have no memory of writing.
What does it say?
You want to read it?
Yes.
I'm going to put this into your journal, and why don't you read this like a conversation?
Oh, boy.
Whose handwriting is the monologue in?
Tima's.
Yeah, I believe Dora is right-handed and
Yeah.
Tima is left-handed.
Right.
Yep.
Because left is evil.
Sinister. Sinister.
It is
yes.
sinister.
Clearly.
Jesus Christ. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Shut up already. Yes! Yes! Yes, I can bloody well hear you. Your thoughts are so loud I can't hardly think in here. Gods, but you're terrible at this. You're a mess. You lack discipline. The only reason you're making any progress at all is because you're using my brain folds. Because when your mind wanders, I can pick up the slack. I mean, flip back a page. Go on. Do you remember reading any of that? No, of course not. Look up. What do you see? Exactly.
Do you look up?
Yes.
Give me a perception check.
Jesus.
24.
So it's dark down there in the hold as we're cresting on towards
She lifts her
nightfall.
crystal.
You've got your dark vision sort of covers exactly the length of the ship. And as you look down this narrow passage between these towering walls of lumber, you see the gnome Montcamus sitting in his little cubby on the opposite end of the ship, sort of beginning his day, because his day begins at night, because that's when he starts cleaning. And the little sort of like white-faced, pink-eyed, crazy-haired little gnome is like tying his boots on, and he's staring down at you. Carry on with what Tima wrote you.
Exactly. You're useless. You're a child. No, you're worse than a child. I despise you. I am going to kill you. Somehow, some way. And then I'm gonna make someone drag your soul back and shove it into a different body just so I can torture you. And then I'm going to kill you again. But until then, get back to work and focus. Sound out like this again, and I'll stab that pen into our leg.
No memory of writing this.
I mean, she sounds nice.
All work and no play.
It's so true.
God.
It's so true. And so part of that revelation is what Dora is going through here.
Yes.
Not only am I not aware of my surroundings, I'm not aware of what I've done. I'm not aware of exactly how mad I/she/we are going, tucked down in the hold in the darkness all day, peering through these books with squinted eyes, jotting notes eternally.
So throughout this, from the 17 points of sanity damage on, has Tima also had the same amount of sanity damage?
I don't know that it's possible to know. I think Dora would not have had a sense of, when Tima comes forward, anything wrong with her mind other than the same lack of memory that she herself is wrestling with.
Mm-hmm.
So she only ever can come out for like 30 seconds a day, right? So I don't know that that's enough time for her to demonstrably display a lesser madness or whatever, you know what I mean, mechanically. And she is an angry person anyway, so you might not be able to discern in that limited amount of time, almost always in combat, like, I don't know that anybody could pick it out.
And since the madness that Katie ended up landing on when she saw the creature doesn't have mechanical hindrances the way that, like, say yours do, Robert, and Johnny's do, there's also isn't that clue even.
Right.
Like,
Right.
there's no like meta clue to that.
The question hadn't even occurred to me until right now. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah. Hey, Polly,
Yeah.
what's going on with Dabs when they meditate tonight?
It-
Speaking of slowly going mad.
Right.
I'm getting better.
So much better every day.
Well, truth be told, Dabwick doesn't want to scry the giant flea with cleric levels or wizard with flea levels or whatever it is. They'd rather have not seen it at all. The giant flea of Jamandor is not something Dabwick wants to know anything about. What'd you expect to see when you looked in the water, you donkey? A nice family of chipmunks on holiday? Of course not. They're not in that world anymore. Their understanding has changed. The perspective, the context is totally different. Now they have a small blot of evil fungus growing inside their brain. Now they are connected to a vastly powerful alien consciousness that actively works to corrupt their very existence and consume them. Now, the dangers of the Sullen River route to and from Casimir are simple. They're sad inconveniences in comparison to the unmentionable violation that is the seeding of Jamandor. Wincing, Dabwick hunkers down and crosses their legs, tenses their fingers, and takes a series of deep breaths, trying to focus their frontal lobe. They are aware of a pounding rhythm in their subconscious. You are nothing. You have nothing to give. You are not wanted. You are not needed. Echo over and over again, maybe felt more than heard. They try to encourage themselves to rise above that rhythm, to find another vibration. The lapping water and whoosh of magically enhanced wind at the mast, the stretch and creak of canvas and wood, work together to help Dabwick, but it takes effort. Meditation, something that Dabwick has cultivated into a daily practice, is challenging now. So when they come out of the meditation, they are tired, sapped, emotionally and intellectually. Dabwick is out of spoons. Yet they do feel ready to seek out this entity and discern its true threat. They are ready to say to Vic, whatever that thing is, let's see what it's up to, eh? Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah. No, I should have a chance to have a break somewhere in here.
He says, while looking up from his spell research.
All right, well, you know where to find me.
Yeah, let's do it now. What the heck?
Well, all right, we just need to look in the,
I gotta stretch my legs anyways.
we need to look in the water.
Oh, well, that's fine. Let's go check it out. Should we get the others?
I think it's only fair.
Yeah, I'll grab Dora. You grab Grip.
Hey, Grip. Remember that, flea with the, marking of you-know-what on its belly that I talked about?
Yeah.
Well, Vic thinks it's a good idea to, peek in on it, see what it's up to, where it is. You want to come join?
What the hell else have I got to do?
Except be the most amazing sailor on the ship.
But I'm not on shift right now.
No,
am
it's
I?
true. It's true.
I've laid my pole down for the day.
I just love that he's having this like blossoming, like like finding of himself in these daily activities.
Finds himself humming shanties.
Yes.
If only Mesa were here, I feel like I'd have more to talk to her about.
And Vic comes down and finds Dora probably a little wild-eyed,
Yeah.
staring down at.
The moment after.
Yeah.
Hey, Dora. You alright?
What is it?
We were gonna, check on the flea with the, on its...
Oh. Now?
Yeah. You look like you could use a break.
Yes. She looks... That's the gnome whose name is very hard to pronounce.
Do you have that writing, sitting out?
No.
Okay.
I think, yeah. Judging from the face that Katie just made, that was covered the instant she heard you on the ship's ladder.
I haven't thought about this before, but leaving it out. Well, I think she tucks that page in where she knows she will be able to find it later, but
She knows
kind of
exactly
puts,
where
like,
it is. Yeah.
Put things away in a way that a casual someone wanted to rummage through it, I would know,
Yes.
and they would not have a good chance of finding anything useful.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, she takes her a few moments to do that, a little obsessively, and then turns to Vic.
Yes, I should be there. Yes.
All right, yeah. You want to come up with me, or you need a minute?
No, I'll come with you.
After you.
Again. She looks at the gnome.
He's just very innocently looking at you, but he's definitely watching. I mean, on one hand, you all are the only thing going on down here.
Right.
But on the other hand, he's just kind of sitting there watching.
This is the
This is the gnome.
Dora is consciously trying to draw Victor's attention to that, but without saying anything.
Yeah, so this is the gnome who maybe got involved with some shenanigans with the overseer's wife.
yeah. This is the one that does like the overnights.
I want to call him Montague, but it's like
Montgamue.
Oh my
Montgamue.
God, what a terrible
Montgamue.
name. Montgamue.
Yes.
Hey,
I'll call him Monty,
That's exactly what I was
does
about to
not
do.
Want that
only in reference to him with other people.
with other people. Okay.
I won't refer to him at all in person because I don't want to mess up his name.
everything okay there, Monty?
Gonna give you all his picture again, just for
So we
reference.
know what's staring back at us.
Yes. I do have to say, my name is Montgamue.
Oh, sorry. Wasn't trying to be rude.
I think my shift is starting, so I'm gonna go to work now. And he quickly gathers his shit together, kind of like shoving his arm into his light jacket. Things are getting colder, so he's kind of dressing up to spend all night out swabbing. He kind of pushes his way past you. He's about half your height, so it's but he's
a little funny.
He's weirdly strong because he was hired muscle for a caravan that went through a very dangerous giant spider infested forest. So he's a tough little dude.
Like a fighter or something like that?
You would definitely assume he's like a fighter or something of that ilk. Yeah,
All right.
Yeah. He seems like he knows how to carry his body. But he heads up to the deck.
All right, well, I guess after him then.
All right, so then the four of you gather by the side rail.
Is there a way to aid someone in a scry?
So here's how the scrying spell works. Let's talk about that for a second. So this is a very powerful spell. This is a 4th level spell that allows you to observe any creature at any distance. The subject is going to have to succeed on a will save. If they succeed, the spell fails. If they don't, then you can see and hear the subject and their surroundings, approximately 10 feet in all directions. And if they move, this magical sensor that the spell creates follows them at a speed of up to 150 feet per round. This will last, in Dabs' case, for 7 minutes. Now, Dabs doesn't make a check, but what does happen is Dabs has ways to mitigate how difficult that will save is. So it functions as a baseline 4th level spell. If Dabs has in their possession a likeness or picture of the subject, or a possession, or a garment, or a body part, that's going to make it harder for the subject to resist. If Dabs knew nothing about the subject, some ways that you all could help would be to, say, describe the subject in order to give Dabs secondhand knowledge. But that's kind of about it with this particular spell.
So Dabwick's best equipped, as is for having first-hand sight.
You have seen the subject,
I've seen the subject.
and you have no picture, possession, garment, or body part. Yeah, so this is just a flat-up DC what will save, Polly?
TC 19.
Oh, and this spell even works across the planes.
Yeah.
So this spell takes 1 hour to cast. What does that look like? And the body of water that you are using as your viewing device is the actual lake itself.
It's the actual lake itself.
All right, so you're looking over the side of the rail on the shore side or the deep
The
lake
deep side. The deep lake side.
Okay.
And I've gathered us there to the to the railing. You know, this is just like Dabwick, I think. You want to come see? You want to come see? We're going to do this thing.
Quick,
You
hurry.
Come to the railing, and then goes into kind of a trance-like state, like slows way down, and goes into sort of this trance-like state, staring at the water. And maybe after a minute or so, someone gets a little antsy and starts to wonder what's happening. And Dabwick will have to explain.
Dora might be able to explain
This is going to take some time.
if it won't interrupt. If you
Yeah.
cannot be interrupted.
I might need to concentrate for that hour.
Yeah, I feel like we would be we'd let people know, like,
They're checking some stuff out, so just give them some space.
Yeah, cool.
Someone will probably have to stop Grip from just throwing something into the water out of
Skipping stones.
boredom.
Arm wrestle.
oh, while this is going on,
Yeah.
Vic is definitely sort of clocking Monty and just kind of giving him a little bit of the eye.
Yeah, he is very efficient at his job.
Okay.
He seems like someone who had to cajole their way onto this ship and wants to make damn well sure that nobody finds any fault in their work. So he is Mr. Efficiency.
Because
He-
he's Daggerbotha.
He's Daggerbotha in disguise. Roll initiative! He came out at the last second after Skywind had already made sort of a big deal about, like, we don't have a lot of room left on the ship, but apparently whatever song and dance he sold to Skywind, she took pity on it. But you can tell that the arrangement was partially like, don't give me an excuse to leave you at the first port we stop at. Because this is a long journey. So he's got his head down, he's working hard. And then after an hour, I'm going to make a will save for the giant flea
That has some kind of intelligence.
with the blotch on its belly in the shape of Jamandor's unholy symbol. I'm going to roll these brand new dice that Robert just brought us.
From where?
From where, Robert?
From New Zealand.
Amazing. Here we go. First roll, natural 1.
Yes.
You can all thank me later.
Okay, I gotta look up something real quick because I'm pretty sure it gets an opportunity to spot the scrying sensor.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. This is DC 24. Okay. So at the end of this hour, Dabs has finished incanting and reaches back with their hands to grab the three of you to look down into Lake Encarthen where they are staring, and you see the sort of mist-shrouded surface of the lake. The fog peels back, a perfect oval shape clears, and you can look right down clearly into the lake, which is dark now because it's evening. And then there's this soft, warm, like red light that you see as if emerging from the bottomless depths that starts very small and gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Like a fire, like a campfire is coming up from the bottom of the lake up to the surface, and then suddenly, boom, you are looking through a hole in space down onto a campfire in a forest. Very clearly, the forest of Vales, the forest that you are passing by right now. There is what seems to be almost a nest of leaves and dirt piled up and around a very small humanoid figure. It's a rat folk. A little 4-foot-tall humanoid rat with gray fur. Looks like someone who probably is typically fastidious with how they keep their fur clean, but maybe on the move so quickly there just isn't time to do the kind of gentle grooming of the body fur that one would prefer to do, so it's a little tufty and sticky outy and pokey, jet black eyes, wrapped in these clothes that, when you first see them, look like rags, and it's like, oh no, they're actually like cast-off clothing, very artfully draped around them to keep them warm, keep them covered. They are holding this glowing green vial in their hand and staring into it as it bubbles, and they've got a dagger in their other hand. They sheathe this dagger and they reach out with that hand, and the giant flea is right next to him, leaned up against him, and as he stares into this bubbling green potion, he's running his hand down the back of this giant flea, and then as you watch for a few seconds, the flea moves its hideous mouth parts, and this rat folk talks back in whatever the fuck language this is, which none of you recognize. I've got art for you for this rat folk.
We cannot get away with the rat-related thing. We cannot get away from them. It's a new fan favorite coming up right now.
Here is
Rat folk ranger with his pet flea.
Here's some art. Shoom.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Oh, that's an alchemist if I ever saw one.
And just as you're sort of taking in this scene, as the rat folk strokes the giant flea like the 4th or 5th time, suddenly his head darts up and he looks right into Dabwick's eyes. Then he kind of jostles the flea. The flea looks up, looks right into Dabwick's eyes, and now the four of you are staring down through what feels like a hole in reality onto these two beings as they stare up at you. And it seems like he knows exactly what's going on, and he's made the decision to wait this out. So he puts his little vial away, and he just calmly sits and stares up. The flea calmly sits and stares up. You know, Dabs, that they can't see you, but it feels like they are staring like boring eyeballs right into your soul.
Dora does not say, "I told you so."
Are we able to cast things through this? Like, are we able to do like identify or anything like that?
There is something in the spell description that says there's 5% chance per caster level of operating through the sensor. Detect chaos, detect evil, detect good, detect law, detect magic, and message.
Oh, detect magic. Okay, so there is a 35% chance that a detect magic, if cast to the sensor, would work. Do you want to try that?
I mean, I will absolutely, quaff an identify potion and try to see if I can check out anything that they might have.
I
Absolutely.
like it. Let me roll this publicly. Let's throw this in the chat. 35% chance, 1 through 35, and you got it.
Hey!
That was an 18.
All right, let me pull back up his sheet.
4-foot tall rat folk.
Again with the ratlings.
It's just ready.
So this is a different thing than a ratling.
Is
Rat
there any
folk-
relation?
No, actually not. Like, you would think of rat folk.
This is not a long-lost relative of Ratch Bambi.
No. Rat folk are actually part of society. I mean, on the fringes of society, but whereas ratlings are kind of more demonic rat than person, rat folk are more person than rat. They just happen to look like
It's a spectrum.
It is. Everything's a spectrum. Rat folk are to be found in communities, typically in larger cities, in the sewers and on the edges, typically feared for carrying disease, but many are known to be very good and helpful.
Quite nice people.
Yes.
Really. It's good to know them.
Johnny, why don't you give me a spellcraft check?
Absolutely.
Oh, hang on. You've got Identify gives you plus 20 or something?
Plus 10. So, I mean, that means my minimum is going to be 23 plus 1d6.
Okay.
That's before anything is rolled.
Yeah. So the necklace of bone around his neck is an amulet of natural armor plus 1. He's wearing a ring of protection plus 1 that looks like it may have at one point been a nobleman's signet ring.
Can I recognize it?
I don't know, you can see it clear enough through this.
Could I make a perception check?
Sure.
14. Probably not.
Probably not. Maybe next time we try this. You can see some glows emanating out from pouches along his belt. Maybe a potion of Cure Light Wounds. Looks like he's got a wand of Vanish, a wand of Cure Light Wounds. Two things stick out to you. This set of garments that he's wearing is magical. It's called a cackling hag's blouse. If the wearer is a witch, they gain the cackle hex. If they already have the cackle hex, twice per day they can use their cackle ability as a swift action instead of a move action.
Gross.
You're looking at a witch. The other thing that catches your eye is this thing, this bubbling liquid that he was staring at. It's not magical, it's alchemical. Give me a check, see if you can recognize
Oh,
it.
yeah, absolutely. 20.
It is a batch of brewed reek. Animal musk, spoiled meat, pungent plants, and all sorts of other foul-smelling substances go into a batch of brewed reek. When boiled, it becomes a thick alchemical slime that adheres to anything it touches. You can hurl it as a splash weapon. Any creature struck must succeed at a DC 15 Fortitude save or be sickened for 2d6 round. And if you fail, you have to make a second fort save or be nauseated for a round. Creatures in the splash area must make a Fortitude save or be sickened for a round. It's bad business.
That's gross.
And he was contemplating it.
He was staring deeply into it and inhaling its vapors. And why don't the two of you with Knowledge Arcana give me a check real quick?
I'd also want to make like a knowledge local of if I recognize this person, if they have any fame, as it were.
Yeah, give me that check too.
30.
30.
Arcana is 31,
Great.
and then a 23 on knowledge local.
Well, let me answer your knowledge local check first, Johnny. You do not recognize this person, but I think with that, you would peg them as probably having come from the north. You would peg sort of the style of how they've slung this hag's blouse together and maybe the cut of the scraps or whatever that he's wearing as probably from northern Ustalav, maybe southern Mendev. And then the two of you, I think, would put together as this scrying sensor eventually winks out as the time passes, that this communication that the two of them were doing together, if you haven't figured this out as players, this flea is obviously this witch's familiar. And the two of them have the ability to speak to each other in a language that only they can understand. It wasn't actual language that can be parsed. All right, you got a witch with a familiar marked with the unholy symbol of Shaman Dor.
But no unholy symbol of the inmost blot on the witch.
No, you did not notice any markings on the witch.
Great.
However, you do know that it is the familiar is a witch's spellbook.
Yeah.
All power from whoever their patron is flows through the familiar.
If their patron is marked with this, then it seems pretty
Yeah.
obvious that their patron is.
Yeah, so I think the unholy symbol that you were looking for is on
Is
the
on the
underside of the
flame,
familiar.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
So they spotted the scrying sensor.
Yes, almost immediately.
Based on where we were looking down, would we have any idea of like where they were in the forest, in the shoreline?
No, but you would know nearby within, just by judging, you've been passing these trees all day.
Time zones.
And, within miles.
Okay.
Which would kind of go along with, the time that Dab spotted the flea with that particular spell. They seem to be kind of keeping pace with you, or maybe
Clearly
a little
tracking
behind.
us.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, did you find out what you wanted to know?
Not everything, but it's good to know that we know what to be on the lookout for.
That's right. And if I see either of them again when I'm doing Riverside or anything else, I will let you know, of course, right away.
And you've now seen the witch too, so the witch is now something that you could scry separately as well if you want to. So, still want to gather up to chat with Skywin about maybe laying an ambush, or do you want to put that conversation off for today?
what are we trying to ambush exactly?
Well, my thought was, if somebody's following us, then rather than wait for them to pick the time and place where they're going to attack us, we pick the time and place just like we did with the attack on Iris Hill.
Right, but then we knew what we were looking for. We knew what was chasing us.
Let me fill in a little something here. Paul, how do you think that Dabwick knows from ships? Now, we know that Dabwick grew up in Casimir, but we also know what Dabwick's particular kind of focus was. Do you think Dabwick knows from ships?
I think Dabwick would know from ships, and I think Dabwick would also point out that they can disguise us, can disguise us in mist, can disguise us as in cloud and waves. If we wanted to wait an ambush, we could hide right on the water.
Wouldn't we need to know what they're planning or thinking in order for that to be effective?
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if they're trying to come and kill the captain, then that's all I need to know. They sent a hit squad against us.
And failed
That's-
miserably.
This time, just because they failed this time doesn't mean it's going to happen the next time.
I do have, remember my little insect friends?
Yes.
I've
The spies.
Yeah, I've got a new set, and they can talk, and they can
Wait a
share
minute.
a little bit
Hold
more
on a second.
information.
Fucking hell.
Tabs, you've got bugs that can
DM's
talk.
Bane spell.
So instead of insect scouts, these would be insect spies.
Let me look at the spell while you all keep talking.
Yeah.
I don't understand how we can set an ambush for something that we don't know what it is. We know it's a ship, but
Perhaps,
Oh, I got sidetracked. Let me fill you in a little bit on what Dabs knows then. Dabs would identify the ship that they saw as a long ship. If you all don't know what that is, basically picture like a Viking raiding vessel. Very long, very sleek, fast. In the case of this one, double-masted, short lower deck outfitted with probably like between 10 and 15 pairs of oars. Low rails, like the Starling, to make it easy to board other ships. Typically, as in the case with this one, huge up-thrust figureheads or rams on the prow and stern for smashing into other vessels. This one had those, though Dabs couldn't quite make out the details. The ship was very dark, ominous red sails. Dabs would know, if Dabs knows from ships, that a long ship is, at the very least, in open water like this, 3 to 5 times faster than the vessel that you're on.
Yeah.
That if they wanted to be on top of you, they would have been on top of you by the time you knew that they existed. I've got a little bit of art for the ship that Dab saw. It's not a perfect piece of art, because there's not one in the book. I had to grab it from somewhere else, but it'll give you the vibe of this ship.
And is this Daggerbath's ship?
We don't know.
You know? Here's a ship for some vibes for you.
Oh, gosh.
But it's clearly on fire.
so this
Not
is
worried.
This is the ship that Dab saw.
Yes. Very briefly,
Right.
as the Venus were surfacing.
So this is the only ship that we, the characters, are aware of.
Yes.
We are not aware of the ship that was mentioned in the epilogue of Book 2.
Although maybe you now are.
Now,
Maybe this is that ship.
Maybe this is
Yeah.
that ship.
this is the part where like Johnny doesn't want to be
Yeah.
like metagaming kind of thing.
Well, I gave you some information. I appreciate what you're doing.
But we did read all those books, and in those books they mentioned the ship.
You skimmed through enough to get a brief synopsis of some books that talked about a bunch of different ships. Do you want to start digging in tomorrow with some more research?
What do you think, Dora?
It could be fruitful.
All right.
But I guess what I'm trying to get at is there was an implication made in the epilogue
Yeah.
that there was something Leng related about someone on that ship,
There sure was.
which that fact we don't have that piece of information, correct?
That is correct. Although I would say, as Johnny's hinting at, in all of these books that contain extensive details about subjects related to the Dimension of Dreams and the Plateau of Leng and a ship, I think the kind of questions that you're dancing around might be occurring to you without too much bending of the
Gotcha.
knowledge.
Okay.
You would not know what the captain said to the
No,
mate,
yeah,
but
right,
you would have a
that's
sense of like, this, you know for fact that this thing drags with it sort of dream stuff fog. You've identified that already. You've seen it there, and then almost the instant the Venus hit the deck, Dabs lost sight of it, and then you never saw it again.
Having seen it, if we do some more research tomorrow, is it possible to scry on it, look for it
Yeah.
tomorrow?
Oh, hang on. I
Or
think
do you have to scry on a
I
person?
think
and
it's to
not an
scry a
object?
person.
What about scrying Daggerbatha?
Yeah, that's what I was going to
That
suggest.
would certainly be a possibility.
So starting tomorrow, I can prepare 2 scries a day.
I mean, I think so. Grip's major, not objection, but like the thought of trying to ambush a ship of that nature, it seems beyond his comprehension. But if we can get more information via these insect spies, or through scrying Daggerbatha, I think we need to know more about the ship to be able to effectively ambush it.
Well, I trust you, brother. So if you think we hold off till we get more information, I'm listening.
All right then.
All right. So we're not going to bother the captain and the bosun tonight with this conversation. Is that right?
I mean, I wouldn't have any objection to at least letting them know what we're thinking. I mean, it's
Sure.
her ship, and
Also, if we're talking about going and stirring up a hornet's nest, like we'd want her to know.
Great. So we can sit down with Skywin and Vildi, the bosun.
Yeah, and let Skywin know that I'm going to be using my spells for this reconnaissance.
And do they know, the subjects of these spells know that you're casting them on them?
They don't know Diabwick is casting them on him.
So you won't be painting a target on the ship that doesn't already exist.
No, correct. They wouldn't know it's coming from us.
All right. Well, in that case, I think I would tend to agree with Grip that more information is good. And I think Veldi's point of view would be is if they wanted to harm us, they would have harmed us. They could have overtaken us. They have somewhere else to be. There's something else to do. If we were their priority, we would already be taken. This was a pot shot, a parting insult. If they wanted us dead, they would have killed us.
I think they tried that, mate. Those things that came to attack the ship, they were calling out Skywin, specifically.
But then why not cut us in two with their ship? You're describing a longship. This is a ship of war. This vessel would not hold up to it, would not stand up to it,
Well-
could not outrace it.
Like I said, I think we need more information before we can start talking about setting some kind of trap. And that's what we're planning on doing tomorrow. All right?
All right, Tabs.
Yeah. If they could kill us, and they could take down this ship, then we must have something that they want that they can't get from just killing us. Whatever that is. Good thought.
I just say what I see. My friend.
We.
So you are just hearing me talk for almost the first time on air. We have spoken many times, and I think that I find your particular investigative skills very interesting. Perhaps we have butted heads a little in the past.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like to play that game. The one with the little pieces and stuff.
I mostly win.
Yeah. I haven't mastered it yet, but I'm catching up.
All right, it is time for us all to get some rest.
Before retiring, Dora will pull 2 of the books from that collection,
Yeah.
in case anyone wants to peruse them. Atop the Valley's Soul and Emotions of the Past.
A little bit of pre-bedtime reading for Vic there.
Yeah.
I believe you speak Verisian and Orcish.
Yeah.
So.
As we all descend into sleep tonight, and Vic is kind of thumbing through these 2 books, he quickly grows disinterested in Atop the Valley's Soul. This is a kind of pulpy story about a guy who falls asleep, wakes up, gets press ganged onto a ship, but the more you read about this ship and you're skimming through to see like, oh, maybe he gets on a different ship, or maybe I'm not reading the right thing. This doesn't seem to be describing a ship anything like what Dabek described. This sounds like it's actually he's on a galleon, like a massive sort of tall ship. However, Emotions of the Past does catch your attention. This is the story of someone who's survived a year aboard a ship called the Bloodwind, captained by this Captain Vedrak, which is definitely a longship, definitely black, definitely famed for its bright red sails, and famed as a living vessel from the plateau of Leng.
A living vessel, is that anything that I would be able to make any kind of knowledge check about? Like what that would mean?
That it's magical and it's alive. That's what you pick up from this. Like,
right, but am I aware of any? Am I aware of anything that is a quote unquote living vessel, or is it like a? Would I think of it as like a construct, or would I just go, this is just like an artifact level magic item kind of thing?
I think that would be your first thought, that this is somehow a magical vessel, and like it's so rare, but there are magic items that are enchanted with intelligence and ego and a will of their own, and this may just be one such vessel.
Like the Millennium Falcon, where it got like an intelligence got crammed into it.
That could very well be.
All right.
That could very well be.
Does it
how
give
that
me
works.
any other information about it
No.
other than that?
No.
It doesn't describe like going up and down in the holds, or how many people are often on this ship, or
Do you want to forego sleep tonight and put in 8 hours of research on this?
this is one of those things where I do and I don't, because I don't want to dream. I don't like. I feel like I'm looking for excuses not to go to sleep.
Right.
What's the mechanical effect of not sleeping? Is he fatigued tomorrow?
He is. Yeah, he's fatigued tomorrow.
Then I wouldn't be able to do any alchemical. I wouldn't be able to do any
Prepare.
extracts.
Oh, sure.
So I think it's the sort of thing where I start to do it and then start to kind of nod off.
Yeah.
So this is a way into a dream of dreaming about being on this ship.
So that as that little seed quivers and pulses inside your brain hole, it's quivering and pulsing, transferring a little bit of energy about Captain Vedrak, intelligent ships, interests in knowing more, back and forth between you and your god, Victor. Day 5 dawns. It's the 15th of Neth. A little warmer today, but it's a dull and foggy day with a drizzle of rain. The coastline is banked in with rolling clouds, which rise now and then to show the dreary curves of the rocky shore where distant boulders gleam when faint light strikes their wet faces. It is melancholy outside and in. The crew is in a slightly unsettled state after the excitements of yesterday, and you're all conscious of this weight at your heart and a feeling of impending danger, ever-present danger, which is all the more terrible because you're unable to specifically define it. But do you not have cause for such a feeling? Consider the sinister influences at work ahead of you and behind you. This strange flea and the witch upon the nearby moors. Incredible. Outside the laws of nature. This mysterious ship, where is it now? Where did it come from? How was it that it could vanish after the battle? Where are your enemies now? Before you, behind you, all around you? In terms of sanity, Grips now had 4 days of dormancy. Vic has had 3. Dora is down to only 2 sanity damage remaining. It's a big day. It's a big day. Let's tackle the morning block first. 4 a.m., bright and early, Dabs cast their altar winds as they start their shift on the deck. Riversite early today or later?
Let's do it later.
Anything else this morning?
That's all for this morning.
What's Vic working on this morning? Continuing working on that pistol?
That alchemical torch.
I love it.
Continuing to work on the alchemical torch.
One more day down. Gripper has the mornings technically off, so it's probably a fine time if he wanted to check in with Vic, if he had any thoughts about any enchantments he wanted to get added to his weapons or armor.
The Danbong, I think, might be a good thing. Or what about maybe magicking up the composite shortbow?
So tell me what Danbongs are. These are like a grapple weapon, right?
It's kind of like a police billy club.
Mm-hmm.
It can be used with my flurry of blows.
Right.
Because it's a close weapon, it gives me a bonus on grapple checks.
So Vic doesn't have craft weapons yet, right? The skill.
No.
So he can't make Danbongs, but we could if we get our hands on some.
Could enchant them.
Could enchant them.
Yes.
Yes.
Then maybe that composite shortbow would be a good thing to. It is masterwork.
And so that let's assume now we have put in an order with
quartermaster?
Yeah, we've put in an order with Katzen to let her know the next time we go to shore and supplies have to be obtained that they'll hunt down some Danbongs for you.
Cool.
Oh, you were asking the question about magicking up the
masterwork composite shortbow.
Yeah, but if you want to do that, is there a better bow that you'd want to do? Because if we're going to go on shore to get a Danbong, like maybe there's a better bow.
You've got a composite longbow, or
No, it's just a longbow. It's not composite. I'm just looking at what I have. This is the best bow I have.
Got it.
And it uses my strength bonus. So
So then we find out when the next time we can get supplies is. If it's at that time, we get a better bow.
Yep.
If we've got like a week or so before that,
We can make a decision then.
yeah. Great. Love it. Also, Grip does notice something this morning. Perhaps he notices it because of its absence. He recognizes how accustomed he's become to this creeping, crawling sensation he's been experiencing with these tattoos that cover his body. And maybe it's because of the rain and the significant cloud cover today, perhaps because there's slightly less sun hitting his flesh. The sensation is noticeably lessened today, almost like staying out of your demon lord's domain. The sunlight might help slow down whatever kind of wound knitting is happening with these tattoos.
interesting. What about just putting on long sleeves?
Done and done. Done
Yeah.
and done. You want to try that for a little bit, see if that helps?
Let's see if that makes any difference.
All right.
Grip, I also had been saving one of these armors for you. I thought maybe I could enchant it so you could wear it. Give you a little bit more protection than what you got.
Like what?
Basically, when it gets enchanted to +2, it would give you +1 armor class to what you currently have.
But what armor would it? I'm not sure
It
what armor.
would be one of the chainmail.
Oh, nice.
I think a chain shirt.
It's the chain shirt. Not
chain
the-
shirt would be.
It's the chain shirt, not chainmail. My bad.
Great. All right, so cooking on some options for the gripper once this pistol gets finished. We're still in the morning here. Dora, your morning block, do you complete your study of the ritual?
No. She sits down to do it and contemplates the day before. She gets up and seeks out, I hate to say Stasi, for obvious reasons, but I think she's ready to finish her therapy.
Great, yeah, I'm totally cool with that. So Dora brings Stasi down into her little area there to talk, or does she seek space up on the
she
deck
would seek removal from the temptation
from
of
the environment? Yeah, great.
research.
All right, roll that wisdom check out for Stasi.
20.
Dora is at 0 sanity damage. The entire party
We're the sanest party ever.
We're the sanest party we've ever been.
Aside from
Since-
that very
since-
first day, the first
No,
not
the
even
first-
the first
Second.
round.
Yeah.
Vic.
I was
Grip got
I
his
was
madness.
immediately
Yeah.
dealt sanity damage.
Amazing.
I'm living in a world where we could actually have different madnesses now, which is kind of an exciting thought.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's going to suck,
Yeah.
at least there is
least it'll be
variety.
different.
I mean, you all don't want me to go back to paranoia, do you?
Well, let's wait. Let's not start congratulating ourselves
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
We're not out of
We
these
still
woods.
got to get through the next week.
Day 5, afternoon. Grip takes his shift. Let's see how well today goes. Give me that profession sailor check for the gripper.
All right, let's go.
Let's go.
14.
Okay. All right.
It's the lowest one yet.
It is. It is. Maybe he's getting bored with the pulling and ready to move on to other activities. But the rest of the crew doesn't quite think it's time yet.
I just want to learn how to tie these fucking knots. That looks interesting.
I don't think you're ready for the tying of the knots. Keep your hands on the pole, big fella.
All right. It's because of my fat fingers. Is that it?
I wasn't the one that said it.
But would you? Just 'cause it sounds like it would be fun.
And Robert, what about Barnabas? Does he want... We talked a little bit about... He's got the ability to scribe scrolls. He has the feat. He has the time. If the party is comfortable with a little bit of funds slipping out into this activity, Barnabas could potentially be doing a little bit of scroll scribing in the background
Yeah.
as we're working along.
Are there any scrolls that Dora would want to have scribed, considering her really
That's a
awesome?
great idea.
Someone has to know it. Barnabas has to know it.
Yep.
Right?
Mhm.
So,
Barnabas
what's on
can scribe
Barnabas's
the
list?
spells that he knows, which are...
Level 3, Dispel Magic and Haste.
Do you need to read any more?
Goodness. Please make a haste scroll. If you would.
and to dispel magic. I mean,
Whatever you can do, I'll take them.
So, I forget. I'm unclear what the mechanics of doing that, but
I'll tell you.
tell me.
So this afternoon, if you succeed on how's your spellcraft? Are you good at spellcraft?
Oh,
That's the question mark here.
It's a 7. I've got a 7. What's the DC I would be looking at?
If you want to start with haste, 12.
oh, that's pretty reasonable.
you've got a 75% chance.
Yeah.
You want to give it a shot?
Let's give it a shot.
All right, give me a spellcraft check for this afternoon. If you get a DC 12, you have crafted a haste scroll.
That's an 18 on the die.
Boom! All right, subtract the following amount from your party loot: 262.5 gold pieces. And Barnabas comes up at the end of the day and puts into Dora's hand a shiny new haste scroll.
It is not really shiny. It is paper and ink, you know. But I made this for you.
That is so exciting.
This is the finest thing anyone's ever given me.
She says without this shred of irony.
It is a sad admission, I suppose, but I'm happy to be able to help.
I mean, I am only like 18 days old.
Fair enough.
So add that to your sheet, Katie. Johnny Vic's afternoon. Are you going to keep working on that spell you're doing, or you want to do some reading?
So I just want to make sure if I stop doing my working on the spell, do I just then lose that time and have to start
you
over?
Can keep going. You can
then I think I would definitely dive into the book and research.
Okay. Give me a knowledge local check.
I want to ask a quick question.
Yeah.
One of my spells is Tears to Wine, which I can take and then last for 10 minutes per level. So it would last for like 60 minutes. It would last for an hour. Is that something that would be useful in something like this or not? And I'm not asking to try to game it. I just want to know kind of thing.
Do you have the skim spell, right?
Oh, I do. Yeah, that's what I would take.
Tell you what,
I would absolutely do the skim spell to like help.
Blow 2 skims and a Tears to Wine, and I'll give you that Tears to Wine bonus. A lot of magical enhancement on your reading today.
I will take that. All right. Knowledge local. Ooh, that's a very respectable 32.
Oh, nice. So tell me a little bit more about the kind of information you're looking for from this sort of first-hand confessional account of somebody's experience on this ship.
I'd want to know how many hands are normally on it, if there's any indication of sort of what they're like, what jobs people normally have to do, how they operate in combat, any sort of weak points on the ship, how the ship operates magically.
I'm going to veer this a little more towards what I know this book actually contains, which I think will give you some information you'll be happy about.
That'd be great, yeah.
I totally get what you're looking for now here. So you would know Captain Vedrak is absolutely, positively, 100% a denizen of Lang. He is a magus.
Witches and maguses, get me out of here.
He fights with a very highly enchanted scimitar. He wears magical leather armor, and he's famous for this black and red tricorn hat. You know that his bosun is a wraith.
I'm going to need to make another roll on that.
Religion.
Or you could just live in ignorance.
Yeah. You know how I love
Better
living
not
in
to
ignorance. Yeah.
Wraith? A wraith?
Yes.
Yeah.
What kind of horse shit is that?
That's only a 17.
All right, so what you know from reading about her name is Elish. She's incorporeal, and she drains the life out of people that she touches. You know that those are the only 2
Named.
standard folks on the ship that his practice seems to be picking up groups of mercenaries, using them for a job, dropping them off after a job is done, taking over a ship, enslaving all the people, using all those people to row the ship to a new port, selling them all off, etc. The only 2 constants are Vedrak and Elish, and of course, Vedrak's longtime associate, a woman named Wherein.
Oh.
Here's what you know about the Bloodwind. The Bloodwind is alive. The prow of the ship is this giant figurehead in the shape of what the writer of the book calls a moon beast. That it has the ability to create powerful winds to fill its sails. That it has the ability to fly through the air and to the moon when needed. That it has the ability to travel back and forth between the dimension of dreams, the plateau of Lang, and the material plane. And that whenever they land in port, he folds the boat up and puts it in his pocket.
A folding ship? Are you
An
shitting me?
intelligent folding boat.
Ridiculous.
An intelligent folding ship
Yep.
that can travel to the moon
Yes.
and cross
Oh my
back and
God.
forth from the plane of dreams.
Yep.
That is so badass. If I was actually living in that world, I would be shitting myself right
Yes.
now, which
Yep.
is, I think, is basically what
What Vic's doing?
Vic's doing.
So what kind of ambush should we do?
We'll wait for him to put the ship in his pocket.
Yeah, so everyone, are we able to jump ahead to that night when we all regroup?
I have to check in still with Katie, and then we can do that in a
Okay.
second. Katie, what is Dora's afternoon?
We will finish in a very focused, calm, non-obsessive manner. Finish learning the ritual.
So at the end of the day, it's done. Dora has processed every syllable, every gesture, every incantation of the 50-minute-long ritual. She now has the capacity to lead, if she wants, a group of people into the Dreamlands. You all meet up to share this information at the end of the day.
Yeah, so I know that I was suggesting that maybe we try to ambush him, but that's bad news.
Yeah, big ship is it?
No, not so much that it's big, but who's in charge of it is not good. You remember Wherein? The captain, Vadrak, is another Lang denizen.
Long-time
Magus,
associate.
longtime associate.
So angry at us then, too,
Very possibly. Very possibly. And
friend.
his bosun is a wraith.
I'm sorry, it sounded like you said the bosun's a wraith.
That's right.
Ambush!
Isla, she drains the life out of you and she's incorporeal. Dabs, you know anything about wraiths? I can't quite recall that much about them.
No, I don't think I do. Not at all.
Yes, it's you we rely on for religion, I'm afraid.
It's come to that.
Oh, there you go. Oh, wait. Isn't there Dora, don't you have the ability to, if you were to hypnotize me, I could see if there was something else in the far reaches of my brain. Maybe
Here.
catch a whiff of the paint that's still in there on the walls.
But a chance to re-roll that wouldn't be too shabby.
Yeah. If she succeeds at the check, the hypnotized creature can recall any previously failed intelligence or knowledge check to recall the forgotten information with a +4 bonus.
Oh, so a little bit of hypnotism at the end of the day here?
Yes!
Although I do want to check and make sure that, was that a failure or was it just like not a very good roll? And does that matter?
Yes, it does specifically say previously failed check.
Because I don't want to be gaming the system.
Go ahead and roll again.
All right.
I'm comfortable with that.
You don't want to. All right, I have to make a diplomacy check to do this.
And what's the DC?
20 plus the subject's will save modifier
Oh,
against
gonna be
mind
rough.
affecting enchantment compulsion effects.
Let me take off this cloak here.
Yes, and I will use burst of insight.
Sure.
you got to hit a 27.
It's not impossible. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
35.
All right.
nice.
Roll that check again, Johnny. And with a +4.
With a +4. Oh, that's great.
I like to be useful.
Oh, that is a 28.
Okay. Incorporeal. Their incorporeal touch attack drains DRAIN Constitution. Any humanoid slain by a wraith becomes a wraith in 1d4 rounds.
Rounds, you say?
Rounds.
My goodness.
They can sense and locate all living creatures within 60 feet, just as if they possessed blind sight.
Great.
And they are... they cannot... If they are caught in direct sunlight, they cannot attack and are staggered. Also, you know that animals will not willingly approach within 30 feet of a wraith. Potentially, something to note, as regards an insect spy spell.
Not willingly.
Not willingly. And then, as this conversation reaches this point, there's some activity in the aft of the ship as the first serious charting of heading is carried out by Otha and Skywind. The Starling has been hugging the coast till now, heading basically southeast. But as you reach a certain outcropping of land, you're shifting to something closer to true south for a while. There's a long stretch of bays coming up that would waste a lot of time going in and out of. So you're going to sail straight past them to the end of Avalon Bay starting tomorrow, and you'll frequently lose sight of land for the next 60 miles or so. And as the sun is setting and you're anchoring for the night, you see a familiar shape looming out on this outcropping of land. It's a somber, leaning gray stone tower. It's old and crumbling, seemingly abandoned, surrounded by what looks like it may once have been a pleasant, bucolic seaside village. But at some point, that village suffered something. A war, you'd guess? And now it's this ghost town with a ghost lighthouse keeping eternal vigil over it. It's the lighthouse you saw on that painting inside that deep records room back at Briarstone. Both Vic and Grip recognize it, of course, but Dora has another one of her out-of-body experiences, one that she shares with Tima. Her eyes have seen this before, and something about it resonated enough in her subconscious that its particular shape has occasionally reared up in her mind's eye when she focuses her mind on casting spells. And Skywind steps up to Dora, seeing her having this experience looking at this building. There it is. No one remembers the name, either of the town or the lighthouse, because it's all dead. This is it. We've just crossed into Rasmarin. We're in the waters of the living god now. By Desna, I hate this place. That's the end of chapter 93. We're going to discuss traveling to the Dreamlands next time. Dark Nexus is a creation of Plug and Hum Productions. This podcast uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Incorporated, which are used under Paizo's community use policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. This podcast is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo Inc. For more information about Paizo's community use policy, please visit paizo.com/communityuse. And for more information about Paizo and Paizo products, please visit paizo.com. That's PAIZO.com. Dark Nexus uses music and soundscapes by Sirenscape. Check them out at sirenscape.com. That's SYRINSCAPE.com. Opening and closing themes, along with additional music, composed by Rob Kauzlaric. Artwork for Dark Nexus is by Matt Wahlquist. Special thanks to Toy, without whose generosity this project would not have been possible. And thanks to DMCP, Richard and Ari, Paul and Shannon, Chris, Scotty, Jason, Jess, Joe, Chelsea, Matt, Dave, Darren, and everyone we've gamed with over the years for all the memories and inspiration.
Click the tab. Click the skills. Can you find skills?
Stop.
Oh my God. Did you?
Yes. Did you find them? Click the skills. Find the skills. Find the skills.
Are you looking on your sheet?
Are you even in
Have you
Roll20,
tried
bro?
turning it off and turning it on again?
Oh, I didn't mean to click tell me more. God damn it.